how did TATS Crew come about?
TATS Crew came about, and I was still in junior high school at the time, and I was going to school with Brim. Brim was actually, we were going to school called 127 in the Bronx.
The legend Brim.
Yeah, Brim. So Brim had this idea. He had met Mac, who became part of the crew. We didn't even have a crew at that point yet. So I remember meeting up with Brim in Mac's building in Harlem, and he lived around 116 somewhere, and he had this idea of a crew, TAT. And at the time, I think he wrote Top Art Team or something like that. And the reason we chose the A, it was because there was other crews like TMT, TMT.
That's
so we're
right.
like, if we put an A, alphabetically, it's the first, bumps you to the top of the list.
That's right.
So we started, putting up TAT. So the early members was, Brim, myself, Mac, and another friend of ours, Bass. And that was, during junior high school. Then when we went to high school is when, the other members came on, like Nicer, BG, Rash, 125th, Volcan, and everybody else.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what?
So that was the early beginnings of the crew.
Crazy.
Then maybe like mid 80s is when they did BBC, I think, did the document. I think it was Hip Hop History with Bambaataa and stuff. And then Brim actually was part of that, and they did a spin-off called Bombing.
Which is what we all know. Well, anybody that's deep into the hip hop and graffiti culture know Bombing.
So we went out there, and that's where we met Goldie, 3D, Mo2, like all these guys from back then who, we've still been friends for many years.
Mm. Well, Goldie is TATS, right?
Yeah, for many, many years, since we've been friends, like family since then for over, 30 somewhat years.
Over the last few years, he's really supported my podcast, and I hold him very close to my heart. He's a mate to me, and
he's a maniac.
Yeah, he's dude. Without question. But he's like, to me, he epitomizes everything that the UK street culture scene represents, and he just holds himself iconically, and it's just awesome that he has his flowers, and it's awesome.
Finished up a documentary on his life not too long ago. I don't know when they're going to show it or release it, but it's pretty good.
Well, you guys were fully fledged in the Sky documentary recently too, right?
I think, is that the one that he just did on Goldie's life?
No, it was a Sky Arts thing, all about Graff. You guys had a big jam in Miami. You did a big burn.
Oh, yes. That's the one.
Boy.
In Wynwood, that we were painting out in Wynwood.
That's right. I mean, Miami has changed. Art Basel and all that. It's almost like they haven't got enough walls to cover to want more graffiti, right? But
yeah, it's crazy. It's insanity over there during that first week in December, last week in November. It's like artists from all around the world go. They just converge on the city, and just like it's a madhouse.
Do you feel like, because Brim really took it to the international masses, TATS Crew became an international thing. Do you feel contributive to this having happened? And B, how hard was it to have been counted in as forerunners to spread the word of your version of graffiti?
I mean, what's funny, at the time when you're in it, you don't know it's that. You don't know what you're just going, obviously we went out to England to do the documentary and be part of that, but then, we'll painted some walls while we were out there. So you don't realize at the time that what you're doing is becoming history,
Yeah.
You're just existing in that moment, and you're doing what you do. You never say, okay, I'm doing this because I want to be recognized. I want to be, you're there, you exist in that moment, the present. So, years when you look back, when people say, no, it's funny because there's a place we painted in England, and I don't even remember the place. And people are like, oh, you guys painted here. And I'm like, I don't even know what that area was called. I'm like, so I know we painted, but it was like the circle by highway somewhere. And I did like a piece with like some bombs or whatever, where we last or whatever. But I have no idea.
Comment below, people. You know the deal. You know what we're doing here.
That was 1985, I believe.
Mad.
And it was just, crazy for us. But then, looking back, and then you see all these videos and photos looking back, people are like, you didn't know what, was going to happen from then to now.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit like when I think back to my gigs, my
Yeah.
shows, it's like it's all big one big merge. You can't remember, but people hold it to their heart that you came through and passed the message on, didn't you?
Yeah, people, like, for instance, somebody goes to your show. For you as a show, you do a show, but you don't know how your show has impacted somebody else at that point in their life.
Yeah.
So they have that memory of you doing this show where yours to you, you're like, I was at a show, I was doing a gig. But for them, they experienced it in a different way. They were on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, it's true. It's a funny one. It's a funny one because, like you say, what you think, what is actually second nature to you in the Bronx as TATS Crew, you're already like so far advanced in your head. To go to another country is like, well, yeah, of course, because we've patterned up, we're on it.
Yeah.
But when you came through and done what you've done, bombing the documentary, it just left it. It was just like explosive.
Well, what was crazy for us was being introduced to Buntlack. For us, it was like a whole new world. We were like, "Whoa, this is serious now."
Who introduced you to Buntlack?
I don't remember. I know there was only paint available that was there that we had when we were here, when we went there, and it was just so much better quality than what we were used to using. And
it's amazing.
It was amazing to us. It was like, man, this thing is the best.
That's the shit. I had no idea that it surpassed the
yeah, because we were using Krylon, which was watery and stuff like that, and Rusto, which was thick, but Buntlack had the colors and the quality of like a Rust-Oleum. It had like a better color selection. So for us, it was like a whole new world. So I remember we did an event, and again, we painted a wall. It was a wall, makeshift wall. It wasn't a real wall. Something Gardens. Me, Brim, Goldie, and 3D.
Okay.
And we painted this wall, and that's when I had the full experience of the Buntlack, and I was like, damn. I did like a Cheech Wizard character on the piece I did there. I remember.
I mean, that lineup alone is scary levels. Scary levels.
Yeah, no, it was Chrome Angels. They were called. It was Prime Mode.
That's
Goldie,
right.
yeah. Goldie, me, Brim, and 3D. Yeah, that was the lineup there.
Hold tight Mode 2, hold tight 3D. Wow.